All right, ready to dive into something that probably affects, well, pretty much all of us.
Always ready. What do we got?
Sugar, but more specifically, sugar alternatives, and how they can actually be helpful when you're trying to lose weight.
Interesting. Lots to unpack there.
Definitely. We've got this article, it's called Sugar Alternatives, 5 Sweet Swaps to Boost Your Weight Loss.
Catchy title.
It really is. And it's actually packed with some surprising stuff, especially about natural sweeteners and ways to basically satisfy that sweet tooth without, throwing your health goals completely off track.
Yeah, that's the dream, right? Enjoying those sweet treats, but in a way that actually helps you.
Exactly. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is that weight loss isn't just about like the sheer number of calories.
It's way more than that. The types of calories matter so much, and that's where sugar alternatives can be a game changer.
Okay, so let's back up a second. Why is sugar, just plain old sugar, such a problem when you're trying to lose weight?
Well, think of it like this. Sugar is like that friend who shows up to your party, eats all the snacks, makes a huge mess, and then just leaves you to clean it all up.
I got a few friends like that, unfortunately.
Empty calories, zero nutrition. Plus, you get that initial sugar rush, and then what? You crash, you're tired, you crave even more sugar, and your body's likely storing more fat.
It's like a vicious cycle you can't escape.
Absolutely. It messes with your energy levels, makes it way harder to resist those cravings, and yeah, contributes to that fat storage we're trying to avoid.
Double whammy. Empty calories plus making it way harder to resist those temptations.
Exactly. And that's where these sugar alternatives can really step in and change the game.
So, like, where do we even start? What are some of these alternatives?
Let's start with stevia. It's natural, comes from the stevia plant, and it's crazy potent. Imagine trying to match the sweetness of an entire cake with just a tiny pinch of stevia. That's how strong it is.
Wow, that's intense.
It is. It's naturally sweet, 0 calories, doesn't spike blood sugar, so it's great for people with diabetes or anyone who just wants a more natural option. You can use it in drinks, desserts, baking, pretty much anything. Just start small because it's so concentrated.
Yeah, I've definitely had some overly sweet experiences with stevia.
Happens to the best of us. Okay, how about another natural sweetener? Have you heard of monk fruit?
Yeah, I've seen it around. What's the deal with that one?
Monk fruit is another great choice. It's also naturally sourced, and it's even sweeter than stevia, believe it or not. But like stevia, it doesn't affect blood sugar and has no calories.
So it's good for weight management, but is there anything else special about monk fruit?
Yeah, actually, monk fruit contains these things called magrosides, which are powerful antioxidants. So you're not only getting sweetness, but you might also be getting some health benefits, like protecting your cells from damage.
Nice, 2-for-1 deal. I've noticed that monk fruit often comes paired with erythritol. What is that all about?
Great observation. Combining them helps to balance out that intense sweetness of monk fruit. Erythritol itself is a sugar alcohol, which I know sounds a little weird.
Yeah, it's not the most intuitive name.
But basically, it means erythritol doesn't have the same blood sugar impact as regular sugar, and it's much lower in calories.
Like, how much lower are we talking?
Erythritol has about 0.24 calories per gram compared to sugar's 4 calories.
Whoa, that's a huge difference. So how is erythritol typically used?
It's pretty versatile. You can often use it as a direct replacement for sugar in baking. It works great for sweetening drinks, too. And here's a bonus. It doesn't ferment in your mouth like some other sugar alcohols, which means it's better for your teeth.
Okay, good to know.
Mm.
Now, speaking of healthier options, imagine if you could get rid of stubborn fat and actually help your weight loss, all in a simple and healthy way right at home,
That sounds pretty ideal.
right? Well, you can find out more by visiting https://rebrand.lysolutionweightloss or clicking the link in the description of this deep dive. It's a great resource if you're serious about reaching your weight loss goals.
Now, getting back to sugar alternatives, what about agave nectar? I've heard that's considered a healthy alternative.
Yeah, agave nectar does have calories, but it's the lower glycemic index compared to table sugar that makes it stand out.
Okay, for those of us who aren't scientists, can you break down what lower GI means?
Think of it this way. If your energy levels after eating sugar are like a wild roller coaster ride with a quick spike and then a big crash, agave is more like a gentle slope. It gives you steady energy without those extreme ups and downs.
Interesting. So agave helps avoid those energy crashes that can lead to overeating.
Exactly. It helps to keep your blood sugar levels more stable, and that can make a big difference in controlling your appetite.
So agave nectar is a good option for people who want to avoid those sugar highs and lows. What about its taste? How is it used? It's got a pretty mild neutral taste, so it's really versatile. You can use it in drinks, oatmeal, baked goods, even some savory recipes. Just remember, it still has calories, so moderation is key.
Okay, makes sense. Now, this one really surprised me. The article actually mentions applesauce as a natural sweetener. I was like, wait, what?
It might sound strange, but unsweetened applesauce can actually work really well. Apples are naturally sweet after all.
True, but what are the advantages of using applesauce instead of sugar?
Well, for starters, it's packed with nutrients. You've got fiber to help you feel full, plus vitamins and antioxidants. And here's the cool part. Applesauce can actually replace both the sugar and some of the fat in baking.
So you're making your treats healthier in multiple ways.
Exactly. It's a fantastic way to sneak in extra fiber and nutrients, especially in things like muffins, brownies, and cakes.
So we've got stevia, monk fruit, erythritol, agave nectar, and even applesauce. That's a pretty diverse set of tools for anyone looking to cut back on sugar.
Absolutely. And the best part is there are tons of ways to use them in your everyday life. Welcome back. I'm excited we're digging deeper into these sugar alternatives.
Me too. In the last part, we talked about why sugar can be a problem for weight loss and looked at some of those fascinating natural sweeteners.
Stevia, monk fruit, we even talked about applesauce.
Yeah, who knew? So let's get practical. How can people actually use these sweeteners in their everyday lives? Where do we even begin?
Okay, let's start with stevia. Remember, it's super potent.
Like a tiny bit goes a long way.
Exactly. That's why it's perfect for things like coffee, tea, or smoothies. A few drops, and you've got that sweetness without the guilt.
And because it doesn't mess with your blood sugar, it's a good option for people with diabetes.
Absolutely. You can use it in desserts too, but you have to adjust the recipes since it's so much sweeter than sugar. There are tons of sugar-free dessert recipes online that use stevia.
Good to know. Now, I've always been curious about monk fruit. It seems like it's getting more and more popular.
It is. It's naturally sweet, no calories, just like stevia. So it's great for adding sweetness to things like yogurt parfaits, chia seed pudding, even homemade ice cream.
Ooh, that sounds good. I'm noticing a theme here, though. Both stevia and monk fruit are super sweet. Does that ever become an issue?
You're right, they are both intensely sweet. That's why you often see monk fruit combined with erythritol. It helps to balance out that intense sweetness.
Ah, erythritol, our sugar alcohol friend. You mentioned it can often be used as a direct sugar replacement in baking.
Yep, I've used it in cookies, muffins, quick breads. Honestly, the texture and sweetness are so similar to sugar, but without all the downsides.
So what about agave nectar? What are some good ways to use that?
Well, agave has that mild flavor, so it's perfect for things like oatmeal, yogurt, smoothies. It won't overpower the other flavors. And because of that lower GI, it helps keep those blood sugar levels stable.
No more energy roller coasters. I'm curious, have you ever used it in, like, anything besides sweet dishes?
I have. Agave can add a touch of sweetness to salad dressings and marinades. I've even seen it in savory dishes like stir fries and glazes.
Really? Now I have to try that. Okay, I have to ask about the applesauce thing. We talked about it as a sweetener, but it still just seems so unexpected.
I know, right? It's kind of a secret weapon. It's naturally sweet, adds moisture, and it can even replace some of the oil or butter in baking.
So it's helping you cut down on fat and calories, too.
Exactly. It's a great way to sneak in some extra fiber and nutrients,
Yeah.
especially in those moist baked goods like muffins, quick breads, cakes. I made banana bread with applesauce once instead of sugar. You couldn't even tell the difference.
Wow, that's impressive. So we've really got options here.
We do, and with a little creativity, you can use these alternatives to make all sorts of delicious and healthy versions of your favorite foods.
Welcome back to our deep dive. We're wrapping up with those sugar alternatives.
Lots of good stuff to cover.
We've explored how they can actually help with weight loss and how to use them. But let's be real. There are a ton of myths and misconceptions about these alternatives.
Definitely. It's easy to get confused with all the information out there.
Okay, myth-busting time. What's one of the biggest misconceptions you've come across?
Oh, that's easy. People think all sugar alternatives are artificial, like they're all chemicals and bad for you.
Right, like they lump them all into one category.
Exactly, and that's just not true. We've talked about natural options like stevia, monk fruit, agave nectar. Those all come from plants.
Not from some lab.
Right. Now, some alternatives are made through chemical processes, but they're rigorously tested and generally recognized as safe. It's all about making smart choices and picking sweeteners that you're comfortable with.
That makes sense. Another myth I hear all the time is that these alternatives actually make you crave more sugar and lead to overeating.
Yeah, that one's a bit counterintuitive.
It is, but is there any truth to it?
Actually, it's the opposite. It's that whole blood sugar roller coaster from regular sugar that causes those crazy cravings and makes it harder to control your appetite. Sugar alternatives, especially the ones that don't spike your blood sugar, can actually help stabilize your appetite and reduce those intense cravings.
Okay, that makes more sense. It's
Okay.
not the alternatives themselves, it's the sugar that's the problem. I do have to ask, though, some people are worried about side effects from sugar alcohols, like erythritol. What's your take?
It's true that some sugar alcohols can cause digestive issues, especially if you eat a lot of them, but erythritol is different. It's absorbed into your bloodstream and then you just pee it out. So it doesn't usually cause the same digestive problems.
Okay, that's good to know. But I guess, as with most things, moderation is key.
Right. Always a good rule of thumb. Listen to your body, see how different sweeteners affect you. What works for one person might not work for another.
Totally. Any advice for people who are just starting to use sugar alternatives? Like, is it better to transition gradually?
Yeah, definitely start small. Don't try to change everything overnight. It's a process. Start with simple swaps like using stevia in your coffee or replacing some of the sugar in a recipe with applesauce. Over time, you'll figure out what you like best and how to use them in your life.
So small steps.
Well,
It's about making lasting changes, not punishing yourself.
exactly. And celebrate those wins along the way. Every time you choose a healthier sweetener, it's a good thing.
Absolutely. Well, I think we've pretty much covered the world of sugar alternatives. We
Yeah,
debunked some myths, talked about the benefits, and even gave some practical tips.
I think we did a pretty good job.
Hopefully, our listeners feel like they've got some solid info to make good choices about their health and weight loss goals.
That's the goal.
And before we go, one last reminder. If you want to step up your weight loss journey, remember that incredible resource we mentioned.
Yeah, for those who are ready to take action and see real results.
You can learn more by visiting https://rebrand.laysolution-weightloss, or just click the link in the description. It's a fantastic resource. And hey, remember, even small steps can make a big difference. Keep experimenting, keep learning, and enjoy those sweet rewards of a healthier lifestyle.